I'm glad you're a gun guy because I wanted to bring up this whole thing with this guy, Preddy.
Yeah.
And I haven't talked about it. We haven't done a podcast since that guy got killed. But that whole thing, there's a lot of people that don't understand what's going on and why riots only in Minneapolis and why riots in the place where there's an ungodly amount of fraud that has been discovered.
Coincidentally, right around the same time.
Exactly. Like instantaneously afterwards, the narrative completely changes. Everybody forgets about the fraud. Now all anybody cares about is ICE and fascists and Nazis.
Yeah.
And it's there's a what a color revolution is.
Of course.
And for people that don't, it's a coordinated effort to cause chaos. And this is a very coordinated thing. The idea that this is an organic protest, these riots are organic, is nonsense. It's provably nonsense because now they have access to the Signal chats, so they know that these people.
Cam Higbee, by the way,
yes,
he's been on the front lines of this. The Crucible has been a big supporter of that effort. My channel. I will often snipe his coverage while it's going on. Send my audience over to send in super chats in order to keep this guy going. I think that work is critical.
Yes.
It's critical work. And there's not that many people doing it anymore because of how dangerous it has become.
Yes.
And so I'm a big supporter of that. Doesn't mean I agree with everything he says politically, but what he's doing on the ground there needs to happen.
Right. You need to understand that this isn't organic, regardless of how you feel. I don't feel like that guy should have been shot, but I understand what happened. And what happened was chaos. So what happened? First of all, it wasn't ICE. People need to understand that. It was Customs Border Patrol people. So they were brought in to assist ICE. And they're telling this lady to stand away, and then this cop gets very aggressive and shoves her. You have to understand the situation that they're in, right? And this is not making an excuse for any of it. But you have to just to put it into context. These people are getting harassed outside of any hotel they're at. People blow horns. They try to smash into the hotel.
They dox them.
They dox them. That's why they're wearing masks. It's a coordinated effort. I'm not saying that guy should have shoved that guy. I don't think he should have. Or that woman. I don't think he should have. And then pepper sprayed. And then the guy who got shot, Preddy, he steps in, which is, if you know anything about concealed carry, if you are a concealed carry holder and you are carrying not just a pistol but 2 full magazines as well, you do not ever physically engage with someone. You also are supposed to carry your license on you, and you're supposed to have ID on you. Mm-hmm. All right,
and you're trained
yes.
specifically for this, by the way. I was a CPL instructor for years.
Okay, so
and
you know about it.
The thing is, there's a framework here, if you don't mind if I add to your framework. Please. The framework here is this is a mathematical formula. So I've been following these extremely closely live and looking at how this is done. Let's go backwards in time. You remember what was going on in California. Nobody died in California. There was an ICE raid on a Home Depot, and they went nuts. And they started smashing police cars. They were starting fires, right? This was not over somebody dying. And now the narrative, they're trying to make the narrative shift. The Gestapo's in here, murdering American citizens. Well, and what was going on in California then? Because there was no American citizens getting murdered there. What was going on there was they did an ICE raid in a Home Depot, which anybody who's been to California knows that it used to be that you drive down the street and they would all hang out in front of the Home Depot and you'd say 2.
Right.
And they'd hop in the truck and you would, they would go, they were day laborers, right? So it didn't surprise me that they were there doing daily raids. Okay, that doesn't surprise me a bit. And they all went ballistic. Now, here's what was very curious about the coverage of that. And I had a debate with a couple of leftists on this. What I saw was what looked to me to be a police stand-down order. There was people who were breaking into, I don't remember if it was an Amco or a 7-Eleven, but they were busting into it, and the cops were on the side corner watching this go down and didn't do anything. They didn't do anything about it.
Right.
Okay. If it got too rowdy, they'd clear it out, and then they let them continue. It looked like a stand-down order, like you don't involve yourself. Well, what I think these guys have figured out is a mathematical formula, and it works like this. If the local police are not going to protect the federal buildings, then it's left to the federal police to do this, right? In this case, ICE is going to protect its own buildings. the FBI is going to protect its own buildings. If the local police aren't going to protect it and it's surrounded, then who does the protection then? And this is why Trump, he unleashes the National Guard, but where? To those federal buildings, to protect those federal buildings. That was the whole point of it. And basically anytime he's unleashed the National Guard that I've seen, it's to federal buildings to protect them. And so the mathematical formula works like this. The longer it is that protesters are engaging with federal officers whose job is not to do basic street cleanup of thugs, that's the local PD's job, the chances that there's an incident, which is going to be a bad incident, is going to occur. So basically, the longer you're there, the more attrition there is, the more engagements you have with these federal officers over time. Eventually,
yes,
there's going to be something which is out of pocket that happens or something which is escalatory that happens, and they're banking on that. And
yes,
that's why ICE is out in front of these, or not ICE, the Antifa people are still out in front of the ICE buildings in front of many states night after night after night. And it's designed specifically to make sure it's just a math formula, right? The longer we're here and the less the local PD involves itself, the more chance of incident between federal officers and us.
You're knocking steel against flint.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
waiting for the fire.
You're waiting for sparks. And in this particular instance, this guy clearly had been very involved. I don't know if he was a part of the signal chats, but when you go to what's supposed to be a peaceful protest and you're fully armed like that with 2 magazines, it's kind of crazy, right? Like, why do you need so many bullets?
Now the libs are all pro Second Amendment too.
That is wild. That's absolutely wild, which I'm for.
He had every right. He didn't last month, but
right.
Okay.
I like it. I like where it's going.
Sure.
I like that because that's kind of a trap. Did you see what MSNBC did to his image?
Yeah, where they gussied
Basically
it up.
Did the opposite of what CNN did to me. You know, CNN during the COVID times turned me green, and they made me ugly and look like I was dying, and they made him handsome.
Yeah.
So people would be more sympathetic to him getting shot, which is kind of wild. Like, are ugly people less valuable to MSNBC?
Less marketable?
That is crazy to me. Like, look at the difference.
Yeah.
Look at the difference. They shortened up his face. They gave him a little bit of a tan. They widened his face a little bit, it seems like. They just made him a little handsomer.
Yeah,
a little hotter.
They gave him a bit of that Chad jaw, didn't they?
They shrunk his nose a little too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They shrunk his nose.
Yeah.
Gave him a little bit of a handsome jaw. So he looks like an
even
American.
made him. If you look at the shoulders, it even looks like they may have plumped up the shoulders there a bit.
A little bit. Yeah, the one on the right looks like he's a little plumper.
Yeah.
Yeah.